What was rollback policy as an alternative to Cold War containment? Imagine a strategy that aimed to not just stop the spread of communism but to actively push back and remove it from countries where it already took hold. That's what the rollback policy was all about during the Cold War. Instead of just watching communism grow, the United States wanted to roll it back, to weaken and even overthrow existing communist governments. This approach was more aggressive than containment, which focused on keeping communism within its current borders. Rollback wanted to reverse the gains made by the Soviet Union and its allies. In the early Cold War years, rollback gained attention as a bold idea. It involved supporting uprisings and encouraging defections within communist regimes. The United States also used covert operations to undermine communist governments, especially in Eastern Europe. The goal was to weaken these regimes and eventually eliminate them. For example, some plans aimed to support nationalist movements that opposed Soviet control. The idea was to create a domino effect, where weakening one communist government could lead to others falling as well. However, rollback was risky. It could cause direct conflict with the Soviet Union, which was a major nuclear power. For instance, U.S. Secretary of State John Foster Dulles pushed for rollback and the liberation of Eastern Europe. But after events like the Soviet crushing of the Hungarian Revolution in 1956, the United States decided that a more cautious approach was better. Instead of risking war, the U.S. shifted toward a policy of containment, which aimed to prevent further expansion without trying to overthrow existing regimes. Rollback also involved economic and psychological tactics. The United States tried to disrupt Soviet military buildup and create divisions within communist countries. It was a way to weaken the Soviet Union's influence without full-scale war. Over time, the U.S. moved away from rollback and focused on containment, using alliances, economic aid, and covert actions to limit Soviet power. From the communist point of view, rollback was seen as an aggressive move by capitalist countries. They believed it was an interference designed to destabilize socialist governments and undermine their efforts to build a society based on equality and collective ownership. Many viewed rollback as imperialist and a violation of sovereignty. It was seen as an attempt to overthrow legitimate socialist governments and impose Western interests. In short, rollback was a proactive strategy to push back and eliminate communism where it already existed. It aimed to overthrow communist regimes, unlike containment, which was more about stopping new ones from forming. While rollback promised to free countries from Soviet control, it also carried the risk of escalating conflicts. That's why the United States ultimately preferred the safer route of containment during the Cold War.